up. Hi everyone, I'm Kendra. I'm the product director for Miro Prototypes. If you heard the keynote this morning, you heard a lot about how fast everything is moving. In our world, things are changing really quickly. And it's true, you can probably build 10x more than you could before. But we still need to know if we're building the right things. We need to 10x our business, not just our output. This session is going to go a little bit deeper into how the canvas can help you unlock better and faster decisions on what you should spend your time building. Before we get into it, let me make sure you have a QR code, because that is pretty critical for this part. I'd love if you could get your phones out and scan this, because I'd love to know what slows you down most between concept and a validated direction. This will help kind of like steer the conversation a little bit. You can think about not enough time to explore, getting stakeholders to align, feedback comes too late, or after too much work is already done, visuals that look too finished, make it hard to have the right conversation, or turning a concept into something concrete to actually test. I'll give this a second. Definitely a clear winner, which is kind of fun. I never know how much is going to change in the end. Getting stakeholders to align. OK, clear favorite. Clear favorite. OK. Well, I feel this way too. We will have AGI, and it will still be impossible to get 6 people in a room to align. That's the head of growth at Anthropic, the most AI native company you could really get. And the point is that the one thing AI can't really do is get people to align. And this really resonated with me because I find this is the hardest part of my job. We have more tools than ever to build faster, but not many that help us decide faster, especially in this world when you can really build anything. And from the quick poll we just did, it's clear that you all are feeling this too. Building used to take forever. It felt like the slowest part of the whole cycle. Now it takes a week or days and sometimes even hours. And that's genuinely wild because it's only getting faster. And it means that everybody's a builder now, which I think is really exciting. But it means PMs are prototyping, designers are shipping code, engineers are making UX calls. And that's amazing, right? But here's the thing. All those handoff moments that we used to have would actually slow us down. They were where the team actually got to check in with each other, where someone said, oh, wait, are we actually making the right call? And those moments to pause and slow down are now gone. And we aren't thinking as critically about what we ship because it's so fast. We aren't thinking critically about what we ship because it's so fast and easy to ship. So we build fast, we build confidently. And 3 months later, we realized we built the wrong thing. We built it beautifully, at twice the speed we could have 2 years ago. But if it doesn't matter to our customers, does it matter? My manager, Jeff, said to me recently, just because you can build it doesn't mean you should ship it. That can be a hard thing to hear, but he's totally right. If it's not a speed problem that we have anymore, what's the problem? It's a decision problem. So what's the answer? And I wish I had an easy answer. It's not slowing down, it's exploring intentionally and at the right moment. When you only consider one option, it's typically the one you go with. But the more directions you can see quickly, the higher the chance you actually land on the right one. That's what we built Miro Prototypes to do. Miro Prototypes fits into how your team is already working. We're not precious about where you're building the thing or where the idea starts. You can bring in context from Confluence, Notion, Figma, Claude Code. It all can land on the canvas, where the whole team can see it, react to it, and align on it together. And you're not burning through tokens just to explore. You're just looking at and refining your options side by side in one shared space to make a decision as the team. Once you've aligned, you can hand off to code, to Figma. Again, this is not precious. It's wherever it needs to go. It's the right tool at the right moment, and the canvas is that shared context that helps with better decisions and the teamwork. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, and we're going to play a little bit more than in the keynote. I'm going to show you kind of like 2 spaces. One is reflecting the code-based prototype that we had in the keynote, and then the other will be what is available on Canvas right now. so that you can literally go and play, should you choose. And we're going to kind of think about this in like 3 streams. Bringing it into the canvas, so wherever the idea is, dropping it in, exploring new directions, and getting a better version. So let's see. We'll do kind of like another drag and drop session. I have this on my desktop. So you can see drag and dropping. This is HTML based. So the code that's rendering on the canvas right now is HTML. And the interaction that you saw, that's all kind of like baked into the HTML itself. And the cool things that we like is you can actually edit with your team on the canvas together. Right now, one of the challenges, if you are building a prototype in one of these tools, you either have to record a video and share it out, or you have to host it in order to share it out. And that can be like really challenging and one a little bit clunky. So you can do the same things that you typically can do on the canvas, like you can edit the copy, you can drag and drop the components. This is really where you can kind of like play with the visuals. Let's see how well I can drag this. Sometimes I'm just not as graceful during these sessions. But really, again, you can play. And the same entry points exist for being able to create variants. And the variants are really about exploration. Another thing I wanted to show you, if you all are willing to be a little bit patient with the time to generate, is how we can connect this to other sources. So for example, I have my Atlassian, I have my product brief in Confluence because sometimes my engineers really like to access Confluence specifically. I can ask Atlassian to, let's see, create a doc on this. Let's see. Cool. And I use that exact name just because it was a little bit easier. So what we'll see here is now I have like the prototype that we've made and the brief that we kind of based it on. And the brief actually takes it a little bit further because the brief was updated after I started this prototype. So this gets dropped on the canvas, and we can use things like flows to actually connect these 2 things together and create a better version. So I'll definitely let it drop on the canvas, but I'll kind of show you what this looks like and what the output was. So how you actually build this is via flows. It's as easy as having like a connector here where I select prototype. You can connect the document that I dropped in via Confluence, and then we can generate the output. So again, it's creating like another version based on these inputs that come from a lot of different places. And this is where your team, no matter where they're sort of hosting the information about the idea, no matter where they're sort of exploring and expanding the idea, you can bring it onto Canvas and the team can understand where this really came from. This is a great way to also understand what is contributing to the prototype itself. Because if you need to change something about the brief, the prototype on the other side can change as well. So we'll see how that is doing. Sometimes it takes a minute. That's my old one. I'll come back to that because I like to see that it drops on the canvas. But now, that's the HTML widget, which is great, code-based. We're very excited about that. But there's also a different step in prototyping, which is a little bit earlier, where you're a little bit more okay with the layout being representing sort of the stage of the idea, early exploration. We'll kind of look at the same buckets of bring it into the canvas, explore new directions, and get a better version. So in this case, we're actually going to bring this in from Figma. So I have a Figma design file. I can copy and paste the link to the selection. I already authorized Figma as a connector. So you can, I shouldn't have moved that, but let's put that back. This will actually drop that design into the canvas. So if you have designers or other members of your team that are building things in Figma, or if you have existing products that have Figma files, this is a great way to bring it to the canvas and then start a flow that ultimately allows you to build it into a prototype. Again, the whole idea is like wherever this lives, bring it in and then make it interactive in Miro so that you can move it forward. The other thing we can do is, you probably do this already, but we can take screenshots and just drop it into the canvas. I'll just kind of show you that because it's easy and fast. So it's as easy as taking the screenshot and dropping it on. Quality matters here, but we're not going to use this one. We're probably going to use the Figma one for the next flow. And the other thing I did just before coming on stage is I had the same prototype stored locally in Claude Code, and I sent it onto the canvas via MCP. And this is where it actually converts it into the elements that exist on the canvas, so you can have this one-to-one experience with what you do in Claude and what you see in Miro. So we're actually going to take the one from Figma, because I think this is a good starting place for a lot of people and maybe reflects how some of you are working right now. We can now take the screenshot and the design file from Figma and turn it into a flow. So first thing that we can do is convert to a prototype. Again, I'll kind of like show you what I pre-baked just for speed. This, what really changes is it's now like interactive. It has these, the ability to change the components. You can swap stuff around. You can iterate using both AI or manually. Now it exists as a prototype on the canvas, which is great. I have this same Confluence doc. That's a spend intelligence brief. This is also connected to this prototype. And then using edit with AI, I can create a version that represents both. So similar to the flow that we just saw with HTML widget, this is with our current version of the prototype. So if I create a flow and run this, this is the output. So I'll run this so we see it generate. But I'll also scroll down so we can see what the output looks like. So again, this is a little bit earlier. This is about exploration. The product brief was about the flow, so we wanted to turn the initial prototype into a 3-screen experience. It's diving into a feature that we know customers are really asking for, and it creates this version for us. So as the team and I are ideating, brainstorming, trying to figure out if this is the right user experience, we can ultimately look at this together and then decide if it's solving the right problem. Okay, so what's next? We want to explore and edit with AI, because manual edits are great, because if they're like small tweaks, like why waste the call to AI? You can do exploration and editing within the same surface. So we've seen variants before, but I'll kind of show you how this works in this environment on Canvas today. So in this case, how you would actually explore the variants is with the entry point that we saw before, create variants. This opens Sidekick, and you get to kind of go through a series of questions to guide it to the output that you want. Again, the team can do this. You can do this either in the same session or separate sessions. It doesn't matter. I'll close this out, because again, I like to save time. You can generate variations. So these are 2 outputs that we created. Now, the key here is that the team is actually interacting with these to leave comments. And I would say it's very rare that you just go with the one variant over the other. Typically, you're taking pieces from each that you really like or things that you really don't like in order to combine. So we can see some of these comments about the chart, wanting to kind of merge it with this view over here, a little bit about cleaning up the navigation, and a little bit about the differentiator that we want to highlight. So in this case, we can take this, and we can open up Sidekick, and we can make an edit. So where's my little prompt over here? OK. We'll select this context. Great. All right, so we can ship that off, and we also have some flows running, which is great. I'm going to exit out because, again, love generating ahead of time. This is the type of output that you can get. So with the variants that you created, plus the comments from the team, you can use edit with AI to actually get the version that is now reflecting what the team thinks in the direction that you should be pursuing. And what we see kind of running in the background, so what the team triggered for us, is this ability to create this decision artifact. Again, this is the thing that powers the next step. So how you share with Claude Code or Cursor or whatever agent you're using, this is the thing that can help empower that agent to take the next step and build the best version of the prototype. These are all different artifacts, so if I kind of like zoom out to the broader picture, each of these is a piece of this alignment cycle and how we actually make decisions on what is the best approach to the particular problem and what's going to solve the customer problem in the best way. So we'll see this flow completed, and now we have this doc. All of this is a combination of both flows. You can make a flow to do this, or you can actually just use Sidekick to guide this conversation. It's sort of a preference on which one works best for you. All right, I'm going to go back and just check to see. Boo, didn't generate. All right, so that's what it looks like to play a little bit with what we can actually do in the canvas today and what will be available when HTML is released. I want to know a little bit about how your team could actually use Miro Prototypes in an upcoming project, because I think this is a question that's important to be able to answer and also helps guide us as we think about what to build next. I'll give everybody a minute to answer that. So many answers. It takes time to type. Yeah, visualizing data. These are all awesome. Yeah, I think a lot of this is the canvas is a really amazing place to be able to explore, and it's a really amazing place to be able to explore together. All right. Thank you for sharing these. Amazing. So this is really about helping teams make better product decisions. We start with what exists, explore options, and align in context. And that helps teams move forward with confidence. We know there's like a lot of different things that you're having to navigate. We want to help make the decisions. A few things that you can do today, and I would love to talk with anyone that's interested in understanding this more. If this feels like a workflow that suits you and helps you and your teams move things forward, would love for you to try it, but also just schedule time with me so we can talk more about what's missing or what we could be doing to better serve your use cases and your workflows. And I know I'm a little early, but that's it. That's what I got. So thank you all so much for your time.